Sleep. Sleep and leave us to our affairs.
This was never your fight.
My son. They told me he walks in Hallone's halls. Him and the rest of his unit.
They told me the same.
I expect they think it's comforting. Every time I come, I cry. I cannot bear to remember, but to forget would be 1,000 times worse. Yet that is what they would have us do. Accept this truth for the sake of peace. Bury the past and look to the future. But he was my future. My flesh and blood. My heart.
Is this it? We're the only ones with the courage to oppose this madness? Cowards, a lot of them.
They think only of the prize, of the peace Sir Emmerich promises them. They know in their hearts it's a lie, but they go along with it anyway, desperate fools. But not I. Not I! I see the worm that killed my brother in my dreams every night, and I will not rest until he lies broken at my feet. Him and every last one of his accursed kin.
All this nonsense about Kings of Eld, as if I care what they did or didn't do. Makes no difference to me and mine. Have the dragons sued for peace in 1,000 years? Are they bollocks? It's a bloody ruse is what it is, and Sir Emmerich and the rest of them bloody fallen for it.
But what can we do? They believe, and naught we can say will ever change their minds. Whether we like it or not, man and dragon will come together at Vulcan's Nest, and all will be forgiven. Forgiven and forgotten.
No. I will not let that happen. They will remember the true face of the enemy. I will show it to them. And we will rise up against them once more.
Hey! Hey! This is no time for napping. Do you have your wits about you? Good. Come with me. We have a crisis on our hands.
Hear me, brothers and sisters. Do not be fooled by the honeyed words of the Dravarnians. The peace they promise is but a prelude to slaughter. Remember your husbands and wives never returned from war. Your children torn apart by fang and claw. All your loved ones shown no mercy. Does not your heart cry out for vengeance? Your blood boil at the injustice? Remember the face of your enemy, brothers and sisters. Remember it, and strike back!
You there! Don't just stand around gawping! Do something, man! Stop her!
Yes, my lord.
See here the true nature of the Highborn. With lies and deception they lead us to our doom. And dare we raise our voices in dissent? Death is our reward. This is the choice they have given us, brothers and sisters. Death by dragon's fang, or death by nobleman's command. Death to all we hold dear. I spit on your choices, noblemen! You will take no more from me! No more! No more!
What have you done?
I only did as you ordered, my lord.
I gave no such order. I did not. I never meant for anyone to...
Well then, mammalian, it sounds like you fucked up. Good job, dumbass. I dare say it could not have played out any worse, given that first command. Given that first commander and Lord Artwell are not here to take control of the situation. I spoke with a messenger who said that they would be returning shortly, but until they do, naught will be done. Lord of Mammalian has retreated to the barracks and is refusing to speak to anyone. Therefore, it falls on us to ensure that order has been restored fully. Come, let us walk the streets and speak with people. So generally, you have... Nice hat. So generally, you have a situation where... I mean, why didn't this guy take care of shit? So generally you have a situation where typically in an area the local police force is not going to be sufficient to completely quell the population. So if you look at most cities in a given area, unless that area has recently had some sort of rebellion or an attempted coup d'etat, you will typically have a scenario where there are very few security forces, so like police, compared to the population. So if you take a city of like 100,000 people, we'll say like Santa Maria, California. I think it's around 100,000 people. They probably have less than... I want to say they have less than like 500 police officers there. It's probably way less than even not even that. It's probably closer to like maybe 50, maybe 100, and they're policing 100,000 people. So if the town of Santa Maria just decided they were going to crucify all of their police officers, which I hope doesn't happen, but if they decided to do that, the police officers would have a pretty good KDR compared to the normal civilians, but eventually they would just get completely obliterated. No real chance of surviving, unless they just run. So, in a situation like this, this is sort of like Renaissance era. Well, they're using long swords and they're still wearing armor, but now we're applying like historical stuff to it. So we'll just say it's like Renaissance, because there are rapiers and stuff like that. And these people are essentially supposed to be like the French, I guess. So, like Charlemagne's day and all that. So, with these guys, this is also basically a fortress town. So if you think about Falcon's Hollow and we actually look at it, Falcon's Hollow is actually not that big. So Falcon's Hollow, you have 1, 2, that's a watchtower, that's the Citadel. Yeah, that's the Citadel. One of those is a barrack. The other one is probably some sort of like armorer's location. That's the keep. And where the keep is over here, this would be considered the Citadel. So, I mean, obviously it's not... What the? That's a familiar. Okay, but in essence, you notice that the Ishgardians tend to have lots of longbows. So what that means is, so let's say an invading force comes in, right? And it's by foot for some reason. So first things first, it is to get past this front part, which, you know, obviously there's no gate here, so they just sort of walk in. Well, the entire time they're doing that, they're getting shot by longbows. And so when they start going up the stairs, the defending forces would retreat back to here. There'd be layered defenses, but they would retreat back up these stairs here as more longbows being used to just slaughter whoever's coming for them. And then after that, you could pull back here, but this is kind of a bad place to be. Nice and defensible, but not the best. So they'd probably retreat back up here. And so they'd be over here using longbows to just slaughter everyone coming up these stairs, everybody in... Effectively, it's known as the murder box, which is that over there. And then this could be a murder box too, but everyone who's on the walls, so you would have defenders who would be holding these buildings, and you'd have defenders up here with longbows shooting down into this murder box here. Same thing over here, just shooting down there. And, okay, so the enemy takes that, kills everyone over here, takes this one, kills everyone over here, and this one kills everyone. This door down here is a bit weird, because you typically wouldn't want that there. So then they would start coming over here. And as they got to around here-ish, the forces up here would retreat into the keep. So effectively, the Citadel is now lost. So now they go into the keep. Now, keeps are effectively designed to just be massive kill boxes. So, like, you go up a stairway in a keep, all around that stairway is just a bunch of little arrow slits where you can, and also like spear slits, where you can effectively just keep stabbing intruders as they're coming in. Like, if you ever, like, actually visit a castle, what you'll find, or like a town keep, what you'll find is that there are just blind turns everywhere, like halls that seem to just abruptly come out of nowhere. And the reason for that is they are purpose designed to be as confusing to navigate as possible, so that hopefully people just get lost. And on top of that, they are designed specifically to just be an absolute nightmare to invade. So taking a town wall is actually kind of easy. So like this over here is even easier. There is no town wall. You just walk up. I guess you could say these would be the town wall to get into the murder box. And so here you'd start taking a lot of losses. Typically you need about twice to 10 times the defenders. Let's go in terms of losses actually. So you'll take pretty light losses taking a town wall because it's hard to fully defend a town wall. It's more there to to maintain like taxes than anything. It's more there to control the population, control like trade and people moving around. But then you start getting to more of the actual defenses and battlements. And so taking these, you'd take a lot. Like, losses would be greatly amplified over here. I assume this watchtower would be absolute hell. And they have, tiers here where you could, in theory, station archers, which would allow you to just basically just rain death constantly. Looks like people can even get up here. I mean, obviously this huge coffin is burning, right? So you'd need some sort of way to get up here, even though there doesn't appear to actually be a means of doing so. But, yeah, Falcon's Hollow is moderately defendable. It's not the best. But yeah, you could fairly easily take this town. You'd take a bunch of losses. There are some good vantage points for defense, but like mostly it's kind of disparate. Because you would generally want to concentrate your defenses in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, so you would take minimal losses taking the initial outside walls. For the inner walls, you'd start taking losses getting up here. In the murder box, you'd take a shitload of losses. Like you go from taking maybe, we'll say taking like maybe 2-to-1 losses, like taking 10-to-1 losses here, maybe 20-to-1, and then taking each of these buildings and getting closer to the keep, you'd effectively take more like 50-to-1 losses. And then actually taking the Citadel, even though this is a crappy Citadel, you'd probably take even more losses than that, because now everything's concentrated. And then actually taking the keep itself, you'd take like 100-to-1 losses, if not higher. Taking a keep is in no way worth it most of the time. What you'd want to do, in all reality, is look around for any kind of back entrance into a keep, because most keeps had back entrances, so they could smuggle supplies into the keep. Or you would just kind of hang out on the outside and continually offer them terms of surrender. Everybody gets to live. And we pretty much just take you as prisoners of war. Or send you back to your country with, something saying, hey, this is ours now. You want to negotiate? Because remember, and most of the time, your goal in any kind of war was to take territory to use as leverage to then force some sort of lasting peace or force some sort of conditions. Like, that's what the actual objective was. So, yeah. And I mean, the thing that's actually super important here is that these might actually be storage for the civilians if they don't just leg it. So they don't just run over here and try to escape. And the reason for that is when you take a town in, like when towns were taken by enemy armies in the real world, you typically didn't want to kill off the blacksmiths and the masons and the peasantry and the commoners. You didn't want to kill off the merchants. You basically didn't want to kill off anybody that you didn't absolutely have to. Because who is going to fix all the damage that has been done? The masons. Who is going to repair all of your weapons? The blacksmiths. You have your own camp followers, but after a major battle you're going to need help. And who is going to fix everything that is broken? Yeah, you get the idea. The other thing is, sure, while there will be a bunch of unrest now that you've taken this town, you kind of still need the peasants to go out and do things. You kind of still need them to go out and farm. You kind of still need them to go out and hunt. So, they still go out and do all that stuff. The peasantry usually doesn't care who's in control. They just want their life to keep going. So, yeah, it tends to work out pretty well. But yeah, you typically don't want to like really kill off the peasantry. In most cases, police officers would be in like the medieval era. They were parts of the military, but in the newer era, so like today, they aren't part of the military. Like police officers and military are different people. So, yeah, it's an okay little fort, but against other humans, it's kind of crappy. Doesn't have a gate. Doesn't have a proper gate. I mean, these are nice little. What are those, parapets? Nice little archer boxes, I guess. Nice little archer platforms where you could rain death. But yeah, so more than likely, and this is actually where there's a little bit of an issue. So the enemy would most likely want to take this central tower first, because your primary defenses here in the citadel, I suppose, is designed to effectively allow you to just slaughter everyone as they're flooding in to try and come up there. And if the enemy can take this tower, they can basically just rain death down on your defenders, which is unideal, we'll say. So, yeah. Kind of a bit of a problem there. So yeah, they would want to make it to where this tower cannot be lost. So, yeah. Granted, taking this tower floor by floor would be absolute hell if they did it correctly. So there's this thing with defending a tower, which is if you make it so that there isn't a stair to go to the next floor, but instead you have to climb up a ladder, it is just infinitely harder to actually take that tower. Because what you were saying in that case is we are maximizing defense and minimizing ease of entry. So, and if you have to go upstairs, they can always just latch down the trapdoor that you're going to use to get to the next level. They can also surround it with basically death. They could have something that has pitch that you could potentially pour over people as they're coming up the ladder. Pitch is very hot, by the way, so people don't live very long when you do that to them. But, yeah, it's really gruesome. Yeah, but that's just how that is. Yeah. But this is like talking, we're fighting that Ishgard's fighting humans, and they're primarily fighting dragons. And you'll notice, this is facing inside, right? So that means they're expecting to lose this, and unfortunately these are kind of tiered on top of each other. So what that really means is that these guys can't actually hit the murder box from here, but these guys can. Part of it. So, like, these are more for shooting up the sides of the murder box. These ones can sort of hit the murder box. But again, they're more of like the sides. And defending that over there, and then the other one is defending the citadel, the keep. Citadel and keep. And this appears to be more of just a lookout. Yeah, this is probably more of just a lookout. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, let's go talk to people. A spirited stonecutter. I heard the rumors of a young lord of... I heard the rumors... I heard the rumors that the young lord was a drunken fool. What imbecile thought it was a good idea to let him have the run of Falcon's Nest? Well, I say him and Sir Emmerich take their bloody change and shove it up their asses. They'll be taken by that rot again. Yes. They were wrong to resort to violence, but when I heard her speak, her words were as a dagger in my heart. Who are we to decide that enough is enough, that their calls for justice can never be answered? Will this be the end of it, or will there be others like them and the true brothers? I do not want to bear steel against my kinsmen ever again. I do not know if I ever can. Don't worry. You totally can. You probably will. They won't leave you a choice. My wife and I fell while fleeing with the others at first. The Churgeons tended to our bruises afterwards. Those mad fools have ruined everything, and for what? What indeed? Well, what say you? So, the violence has passed, but the people are far from recovered. That is to be expected. For the moment, it appears that no innocents were harmed by the gods. Blame for all the casualties can be placed squarely upon the protesters. Nevertheless, the people will not soon forget the image of a young lordling ordering the public execution of an unarmed protester. One whose words resonated with the hearts of many. After all, who among us has not lost loved ones? Lord Artwiel and the first commander should have returned by now. To the tavern, then. Their first order of business will be to speak with Lord Emmerich, and I somehow doubt that he has moved an ilm since we last saw him. I mean, to be fair, she did poison a bunch of people. There, Lucia.